Taking over Stephen Buer's seat means this. Now get ready for this one. I have to run again in 2012 to fill the rest of that 4-year term. And then I can run for 2 more 4s. The first term doesn't count in term limits. So you could have me for 11 more years to kick around, which could be really good or really bad depending on how well I'm doing. But I hope that you give me that chance, because my goal is to be chairman of Ag for 12 years. It's never happened in the Senate. And then you know who's there. And if you're mad at me, you call me. Look, I'm a coach. I can take it. Because I want to get it right. And I tell people down there, it's not who's right, it's what's right. And I'm telling you, that has been my philosophy. And Roger probably knows a couple issues. I've gotten burned by my own caucus because I stuck my neck out because I did something I thought was the right thing to do. I'm still here. And that's what's, and you need to know that. So keep re-electing me. All right, go ahead. What? Yes.
On this plan, how much blackmail was there in that plant? When that plant was built, the way I read it, the way I did, those people were blackmailed into it.
I'm not sure.
I think it's talking about Lima.
Oh, in Lima?
Right.
Oh, you know what? All I've heard are horror stories. And it started right about the time I was getting in. And it's already been bought out and they can't make any money because, like I said, I went to Poet and I asked Poet, why didn't you buy it out? And they said it is such a mess, there's no way we would ever want it.
Why are they taking corn now?
That's a good question. That some guy bought it and is trying to get it right. But I'm taking my corn to Poet, if you ask me. And now I sound like I'm a spokesperson for Poet, but I believe in what those guys are doing. And like I said, I believe they're doing it right. I'm not sure about Lima. Lima's doing it better than they were, but they're not making much money. I don't know if it's going to last. But I don't know about the blackmail thing. There was some weird stuff going on down there. But I'm from Finley. Weird stuff always goes on down Lima.
Okay, another one. Why is biodiesel so hard to get a hold of?
I think there's a problem with the body politic buying into that kind of change. I hate to say it, but I think so. And when you have $4 gasoline, then people start thinking out of the box a little bit. Then it drops to $3.20, and you know what we all did? We were all like, yeah, it was only $3.20 the other day. Of course, it was $3.65 on the way here.
Yeah, right.
But we do that, and I'm not sure yet where this country is. We want not alternatives, we want supplementals. And once we start preaching supplementals, we're going to do better. Preaching alternatives, we're going to need oil. And I'm sure you've heard of the Utica Marcellus shale. There's a ton down under Ohio. A ton. And Ohio can benefit if we do it right. And we worked on legislation in the last General Assembly to make sure it's right. And we worked on some here recently, and I believe, and you may not, but I believe we're going to get it right. And it's going to bring in a lot of money and jobs to Ohio, which is what we should be focusing on. You know, I'm talking to people that are mostly farmers, and that's a different argument than bringing in these jobs. But Marathon's bringing in 100 to 150 new jobs to Finland, and that'll spread out because what they do, they might get involved in that drilling stuff that we're talking about, which will provide jobs for people even over here. And that's good. I mean, that's my district. Well, and I'm going to tell you another part. The wind stuff. If you haven't been down to Paulding yet, if you're against wind energy, don't drive to Western Paulding. If you're into it, drive down there. It's almost like an invasion of the Mars guys. But there are 50 of them, 55 of them right now that are up.
How many?
55 right now.
I'd say there's more than that. Do you know how many is going?
There was 55 when I went there a week and a half ago. Okay, now it's 155.
Okay.
There's going to be a ton. But that's what those people, but let me tell you what it does. This is important. One project in Van Wert County is bringing in $1.5 million in local land leases every year to those farmers that sold that land. $2.5 million in local government funds that gets divided to schools as well. So when these commissioners in other counties are saying, what are we going to do about you cutting our local government funds? I said, get a wind farm. Well, they said, we can't. The deadline's up. Well, guess what? I added an amendment to the budget, and if the governor vetoes it tomorrow, he's going to hear from me. Not that he's afraid of it, but he's going to hear from me, because I don't think he's going to. That we extended the amount of time to start these projects by 2 years. And you know why? There are 4 to 5 projects in this Senate district that'll be wind projects, and one's in Leipzig, one's outside of Findlay. They're talking about north of Poling, so it could come up this way. And I'm going to tell you, it brings in millions to the local governments, which is unbelievably important at this time. And it's going to unfortunately be the haves and the have-nots with these projects, because they don't go everywhere. But I will tell you that Northwest State's ahead of the game, and they're teaching their kids how to maintain those babies, and they'll get those jobs, and that'll help those guys come in. Yeah.
Where is that power going to?
Right now it's captured locally, and it's used locally because they can't store it, and so that's the next step. I mean, it's like ethanol. It starts okay, it gets better. And once they can capture to the grid, it'll change the whole game.
I was told it's going to Pennsylvania, then to New York.
If we don't start doing things here, it will. And they'll be selling it to other places, and not Indiana, but you're right. But here's the thing, what you have to understand. We were charging $42,000 per megawatt produced in Ohio. Indiana was charging $3,000 per megawatt. Michigan, $4,000. So we had these fields that nobody was going to build in, because why would you? And so we made this deal, and we got it down to about 9,000 a megawatt. And they told us, if you build the language, we will come. And they did. Where the wind is, monitored at a level that they can produce energy. And it's going to help costs, for energy costs in some of those areas. It really will. But we need to learn to capture to the grid, and that's the next step. And I keep asking, can we do that in the next 10 years? And they said, in the next 5. Is it time for, oh, okay.
Okay, then
hey, you only get 20 questions.
I'm getting to the point where nobody wants to speak up anymore. And I'm getting fed up with some of this crap going on.
On what? On the wind turbines?
To a point. I was told out there to stop. There's a lady's son that's going to Ohio State, and he knows exactly where all that stuff is going to.
Well, that's a wives' tale. It's not. No, it's not. Because they already set up many stations there, and I've seen them, and it's for the locals. So, I mean, but can they sell it and make money elsewhere? Yeah, if we can't use it here.
What gets me is why can't GM at Fort Wayne and Defiance in our own local area get to use that?
They are using it. It's going to help Vantage. The community school down there, it's going to help Van Wert like crazy. Paulding, which is a very depressed area, is going to be a whole lot better off because of this, and they're going to use that.
And the lady in Payne that furnished the diesel oil for that company said that their electric bill is going to go up.
No. I'm sorry, but it's not. It's going to be competitive, and as more of these take place, it's going to defray the overall costs. I talked to my co-op guys. They were a little worried about this too. You know what they did? They invested in wind in Iowa. It's long as, again, balance and getting it right will be fine. And with the contracts we set up, I believe they're fine. There are a lot of scare tactics out there. There's the same people that are saying ethanol won't work. And sometimes you just have to let them do their talking and go on and prove to them that that's not the case. And that's what ethanol production has done, and that's what these wind turbines will do. I think you'll like them before we get done. I really do.
I hope so. Right. On this biodiesel, what is the price of soybean oil over diesel oil?
Don't know.
How about 13 cents a gallon less?
You got to sell the people on it to buy the cars and take it. I mean, that's what you got to do. And you got to make a car that looks good. Looks like my convertible doesn't hit deer. Roger.
17 to 20 cents ethanol is saving us at the pump. So the 345 you're talking?
Yes.
345 is 20 more cents were it not for ethanol. Grocery manufacturers were in large part responsible for a lot of these myths about ethanol. With respect to fracking.
Oh, I know. They told us our tacos were going to cost 3 times more. Do you remember that?
Right.
Yeah, I remember that too.
And our white flour comes from Mexico, not from this.
I know.
Or white corn, I mean.
I know what you mean.
With respect to the fracking, we support that as well, but there have been some serious issues with respect to how it is mined or drilled. So Ohio needs to do that, absolutely correct. And for the record, Ohio Farmers Union opposed state land drilling, but I guess that's a done deal.
Well, I got to tell you, you had influence because we didn't do the way it was going to originally be done. We protected wildlife areas, and our parks are not tier 1 attack areas. It's going to take a little bit to be able to drill. Is it going to happen? Yes. But I'm glad you brought up the fracking because we've been fracking in Ohio since 1947. Okay? The other thing is, Pennsylvania and West Virginia messed up. 2 years ago, we passed, it was called Senate Bill 165, and it's not boring reading if you read the synopsis. And what it did, it set up safeguards for drilling in the state of Ohio that exceeded every other state in the United States. We were the model for you better do it right. And I didn't understand where this was coming from at the time, but it was coming from the ma and pa drillers, the oil guys and the gas guys. They were drilling, and they knew that this Utica shale and Marcellus